this video, I will show you how to answer questions from homework 14 using the alternative stats calculator attached here. So here is your homework. You're going to click on this link to take you to the website. So again, instead of using the Excel Master Workbook, I replaced that with this resource, so you should be using this resource instead. The topic is hypothesis testing for proportions, so the test that is required for that is the z-test of a proportion. So I'm going to click on this test, and in this case we will be able to perform the z-test of a proportion and find the p-value. So the p-value calculator is at the bottom there. I'm going to go to the first question. The first question gives me, if you're testing the null hypothesis states that the population proportion is equal to 0.78, I will go to the calculator and type 0.78 on the first space right here. And then I will go back and see what type of test it is. I see that it's a left tail test. So I'm just going to choose left tail test from the drop down menu and then finish reading the question. Your sample consists of 109 subjects. That is the sample size. So 109 is the sample size. With 80 successes, calculate the test statistic, round to 2 decimal places. So again, the number of successes is basically x, which is 80. P-hat is not provided. It should be provided if x is not provided, but in this case x was given, so there is no need to give the proportion or the sample proportion p-hat. The significance level, since it's not given in the first question, I'm just going to assume it's 5%, so 0.05. I believe it will work without it. And then we need to compute the test statistic. The test statistic is the first number. So I will need to paste it here, and then I will round to 2 decimals. So that is rounded to 2 decimals. The video attached shows you how to use the Master Excel workbook. Please ignore it. Please use the alternative attachment instead, which is the website that I showed you. To answer the second question, test the claim that the proportion of men who own cats is smaller than 10% at the 0.01 significance level. So we're testing a proportion of men. So the null hypothesis should state that the proportion is equal to 0.1, and the alternative hypothesis H1 should state that the proportion is less than 0.1. So here is my choice. It's the first one because we're talking about a proportion. Do not mix the proportion with the mean. And I see that the test is a left tail test, so I'm just going to choose left tail test here. And then based on a sample of 25 people with 8% owned cats, find the test statistic and the critical value. So in that case, I will go to the calculator one more time. My null hypothesis states that the proportion is 0.10. The test is a left test and the sample size is 25. The x is not given, however, p-hat was given at 8%, so 0.08. And then the significance level was 0.01. I hope I did that right. And now I'm just going to calculate the test statistic and the critical value. Here is the test statistic. I will copy it and I'll paste it here, round to 2 decimals, and then the critical value. So that is the critical value. I'm going to round to 2 decimals. Now, the decision here is going to depend on the type of test. I see this is a left tail test, and the test statistic is greater than the critical value, which means it's outside of the critical region. That means we're going to fail to reject the null hypothesis. Again, the video attached here is related to the Master Excel workbook. Please ignore that video and use this resource instead, which is the website that I showed you. Submit the question, and you're going to proceed to the next question again and continue in this manner. So to answer question number 3, you wish to test the following claim at a significance level alpha equals 0.005 or 0.5%. The null hypothesis states that the proportion is equal to 0.13. The alternative, it states that the proportion is not equal to 0.13 or it is different from 0.13. What do I have so far? I know alpha and I know 0.13 is the null hypothesis, and the type of test is a two-tailed test because there is an not equal sign. The sample size is 511 with 85 successes. So with 85 successes, and I do not have p-hat. I don't need it because x was given to me. Now I need to find the critical values. As you can see here, we have two critical values. So I'm just going to copy the positive one since I have positive and negative in the question itself. And it says round to 3 decimals, so I'm just going to round it. And then the test statistic should be this number right here. And then I'll paste it and I will round that to 3 decimals. Notice here how the test statistic is less than the positive critical value, which means it's not in the critical region, and as a result not in the critical region. Because it's not, we're going to fail to reject the null hypothesis. Failing to reject the null hypothesis, that means we do not have sufficient evidence to support our claim. Which statement is saying that? It's the last one. There is not sufficient sample evidence to support the claim. Now, make the difference between there is no sufficient evidence to warrant rejection, because we do not get evidence to reject the claim or accept the claim. We get evidence either to support the claim, or we do not have enough evidence to support the claim when we fail to reject the null hypothesis. So the language is very important. So it's the last statement. And you submit your question. These 3 questions should guide you through the rest of the homework. So you're going to conduct the rest of the homework the same way, and it's going to be the same way during a test. So you will be probably typing your decision and the interpretation of your decision or the conclusion. However, the rest of the questions you will be entering them the same way I'm entering them here. Again, all of these videos are related to an older resource. Please ignore them. And I can't emphasize that enough. It is the same exact resource, however, it has a different interface. That is the only difference, is the difference in the interface and the way you enter your values versus the Master Excel workbook. But other than that, it is exactly the same resource. If you have any questions, please let me know. Please do not ask me to provide the Master Excel workbook. It is no longer in use, and I am not going to make it available again. Thank you so much.